Liv LaRusso and Jordan Brilliant with me of Liv N Brilliant. And they are a band out of Southern Maine on a mission to keep rock music alive. And that's a mission we can all stand behind, that's for sure. The band has recently released a 5-song EP on March 30th called Holy Smoke. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Very cool. I gotta tell you, I do my homework. I try researching you guys. I come up on this song called "The Habit." Seems an early song. I can't get that thing to play anywhere. I can't hear that song. I take it you guys pulled that song. Can you tell me a little bit about that song?
Yeah, so that's funny you mentioned it because we pulled it before we released our EP. That was a song we did a while back before our singer was actually in our band. We had him on as a feature to kind of test the waters, and he was in another band at that point. So, we brought him on to do the single with us. And at that point, we had written the song without him. He just came in, sang the melody and the vocal and everything. And
yeah, it was really just kind of an early attempt to kind of see if the chemistry was there with him and to kind of see not just the musical chemistry, but it's also to see like if we could hang out at the studio all day and stuff like that. And
right.
And so it definitely served its purpose. I don't think any of us are too excited to play it out live.
Okay.
I mean, part of the reason we pulled it too was we felt like it was very different from our catalog that we released with the EP. So we wanted to come out with a fresh start 5-song EP and just be like, this is us. This is our starting point.
Right.
Okay. You ever see yourself recutting it? You got a chemistry now. You got a band dynamic. You ever see yourself? Do you like the song that much to maybe redo it?
We've thought about it for sure. And even thought about maybe changing a little bit of the lyric melody to make it into more of something we like, because we really enjoy the instrumentation of it. But we were hoping for kind of a different lyric and melody vibe. Yeah. So we were thinking about recutting it in that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like we actually had an outside writer with us on that one. And so the big reason why it sounded so different from the rest of the EP was because we wrote the EP internally as a 5-piece band. And so if we were to rework it and we were to re-release it and stuff like that, we would definitely maybe mess with the melody and maybe with the arrangement, and we would do some stuff like that. But we definitely talked about it.
Okay, cool. Then I'll get to hear it. And it is gone. I'll tell you, I cannot get it anywhere. Can't wait to hear it. I'm one of those guys, as you might be able to see, once I find a band that I like, there is nothing that escapes me. I'll go, to the ends of the earth to find every last demo that was ever cut. So I look forward to heering it. For sure.
You'll hear it, yeah.
Cool. Where did you? I know this. It's on your bio on the page. Where did you guys first meet? It's 2017 open mic night. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's odd. I mean, that was almost like a fluke, me showing up that night, because I didn't even. It was at Bentley's Saloon here in Arundel, Maine, and I didn't even want to go. It's kind of like one of those things, like it's so far, I'd always played so late, I had to work the next day. And so finally I had a friend of mine with me who I was taking him with me, and he was saying, dude, like I took a shower for this, we're going. Like, you're supposed to do every day, but anyway. So he convinced me to go, and I walk in, and then she's sitting there up there by the stage, and I was like, oh my God. So then I kind of walk right out in front, and we kind of played, like, we didn't talk till after I played that night. Well, this was like 11 o'clock. And she just gave me her card and I said, cool, I'll call you. And because I had seen her play with this young kid. And I was obviously really impressed right away. And so it took me about a few days, and then I called her. And
same for me, though. I was super impressed. Like, up till that point, I had been playing with a lot of blues musicians and hadn't quite found someone that I meshed with completely music wise. Because I'm definitely, a rock and roll lover, obviously. Yeah. And he got up there and played, I think, like 2 AC/DC songs and a Clapton song. And I said,
that'll do it.
Yeah.
Nice job, Jordan.
But I do.
Now you guys started to slowly add members after that.
Mhm.
The last member you added was Sam, your singer. Who's, and I know you played shows without a singer. You played as a 3-piece and then a 4-piece, kind of kept playing in that time. Who was singing at that time when you didn't have Sam?
Nobody.
No,
Well, she kind of filled in.
I would sing a little bit, which, love doing backing vocals, but I'm definitely not a lead singer. I like to hide behind my instrument. But a lot of times we would play instrumentals and jam on lots of covers and even jam on originals. Luckily, we had a lot of venues that were very open to us jamming and doing blues jams and just playing. And it was, I'm very grateful that it was received really well.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that really says a lot about you guys, that, you're getting hired without a singer. That's impressive. No,
yeah, we actually there was a place here in downtown Algonquin that actually hired us for a summer residency without a singer, and so kind of like she had said, we had a bunch of original ideas. Like we would just, especially when we didn't have a singer, we would just show up to practice just with like, say I'd have a riff, and then I'd go, okay, here's a riff, and she'd come up with a riff, I'd come up with the next one, and we'd all get together and we would kind of mesh it into an arrangement of a song and without a vocal melody, and we would practice that, and that's what we would play out live. Like we'd play like covers like Cocaine, things like Going Down by Freddie King. We would do here and there, but it was all, without a vocal, no backing vocals, no nothing.
Wow. Very cool. That's awesome, man. How would you describe the band's sound? I mean, you're playing, Freddie King. I mean, that is, it's really cool. It's a beautiful gap that you have. When I listen to the music, I hear like a 70s guitar sound, guitar rock thing, but I hear that Guns N' Roses, a little bit of hair metal kind of 80s. Oh, yeah. I hear Robert Fleischman, Vinnie Vincent Invasion from your singer for sure, which is not a bad thing. I love the guy. But there's a great gap between that and Freddie King, that that bite of the bluesy rock thing. Was that your plan when you put the band together, to do something in that forum?
Not really. It's kind of funny. It happened very organically. Like, I would explain it as Jordan's much more heavier rock based and I'm much more blues rock based. So I feel like us combining our riffs, and we write a lot of riffs where I'll write the first half of a riff and he'll finish it.
Yeah, I'll like write it through her, or vice versa.
Yeah, so it kind of like creates that mix of blues rock and hard rock that you're talking about, a little bit of Freddie King, a little bit of Guns N' Roses.
I mean, that's pretty accurate. I've always, like, my favorite band is Guns N' Roses, and I love AC/DC, and I love, and I don't mean to speak too much for Liv, but she's, like the Paul Kossoff, like the free, like, not quite as heavy, but it's like the melody is just outstanding. And so it's definitely about, I take blues is at the heart of my dominant influences, like I love, there's like Howlin' Wolf, I think like Scotty Moore. It was like, all kinds of like real blues, like, stuff like Jimmy Reed and Muddy Waters and Little Walter and stuff like that. And so it's definitely, it's taking rock and roll and just breathing the good old classic soul into it.
Yeah, and it comes through for sure. I mean, it is a really cool vibe that you got going for sure.
Thank you so much.
What are the influences of each member? I mean, obviously I know you guys are into that kind of thing. Is everybody kind of on the same page, or do you have like a guy who listens to jazz? Is your bass player a jazz guy, or is everybody kind of that blues rock vibe?
Historically, we've her and I and Sam have been very much, blues rock, very much in the same. And speaking in, for the past and historically, we've had some members of the band that are a little bit more, I don't know, avant-garde. I don't know. Stuff like Captain Beefheart was definitely something that has been mentioned. But I mean, it's definitely a melting pot, as most bands are, and you take like extremes from all these different kinds of music. Like she had said, I've always been historic a little bit more this way with rock and roll, like harder. She's blues. You got someone over here who like, say like Ginger Baker, over here like Mitch Mitchell, and then you got a bass player who's like Grand Funk. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And Sam also, I mean, he tends to list one of his biggest influences as like Tina Turner and stuff. So he'll go into gospel soul and
he can be very soulful. I mean, just from the small amount that I've heard, and I want to hear more, by the way. Just a hint. Yeah, I mean, he's very soulful at the same time, very, very metal, very hard rock.
He loves Bruce Dickinson too. So
yeah, don't we all?
Yeah.
How does the writing process work for you guys? Do you guys? I know you guys are writing riffs all the time. Is there collaboration with the rest of the band?
Yeah, I mean, for most of the time, it starts with just a riff, and then it's like I was saying, I'll come up with a riff, or she'll come up with a riff, and then when we were a band without a singer, what we would do is we would show up to practice and go, okay, here's all these riffs. Here we go. What do you want to work on? But now that we have a singer, it's kind of shifted a little bit, especially we're kind of shuffling some things around internally, maybe with some members here and there. And so it's kind of become one of those things where we'll send it to Sam, and Sam needs time, I guess, as a vocalist, like think about a riff to kind of let it stew. So I've been known to just bombard Sam with just riff after riff, and then he'll send something back. And he'll, we'll go back and forth. And then when we show up to practice, there's something to actually go over. There's something to do. And that's, other than like the occasional, obviously we've all five been at practice and I'll play a riff, and then he'll go, okay, let's work on that. And by the end of the practice, we'll have a song. But other times there have been stuff like, more complicated, it takes more time. Maybe there's more back and forth over text versus other ideas.
Yeah. Sam's even brought whole songs that we've, messed with and flipped and turned into something, crazy. And he'll be like, holy crap.
Yeah. And that's great to have that collaboration, and a lot of times it's just one or two people. But I think, in a band like yours, to have all that input and all those different influences and that it really helps. You have two guitar players. You guys can both play lead. How do you decide who plays what? I always wonder that when I see two guitar players, they're set in that song. They know what they're playing. How is that decided in the writing process?
Well, it's funny because we try to pull a lot from, listening to bands with two guitar players. So like Aerosmith is a huge influence of mine. So I'm constantly listening to Joe and Brad and what they're doing. And, same with Guns N' Roses and the Rolling Stones and all these two guitar bands. But it's funny because we mess with it a little bit because obviously we both share lead and rhythm duties. There's no, specified lead person. And sometimes it just comes with the song. Like if there's a heavier song that we're working on, he'll tend to take the solo and he'll come up with something, that fits it a little better than I might. And if it's a little bluesier, I'll take it. And we just, as we go, we kind of decide. And a lot of our stuff, the song I'll Tell You When off of our EP, that's got us going back and forth in the solo section. So we'll do a lot of that.
I love that, man. I am a big, Wishbone Ash, Thin Lizzy kind of thing, that dual guitar battling thing. And you guys do that so well. I saw the YouTube clip from the show you did on Boston Access Channel, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's a lot of that going on, and it's just really high energy, great stuff.
Yeah,
really cool. Thank you. Tell me about working with Benny Grotto at Mad Oak Studios. This is a big production. You guys really put in a lot to this. He's a big guy, worked engineered for Aerosmith and Ben Folds and just a bunch of people, and a state of the art facility. What was that like to get in there and work with him?
Well, she actually had the initial in with him. With
Yeah. So the way we got to Benny was, oh, I see your kitty back there.
Oh yeah.
That person.
Every time he drops in.
But yeah. So, have you ever heard of the James Montgomery Blues Band?
I have. I have
Okay.
not heard them, but I have heard of them.
Okay, yeah. So they're pretty popular in New England, and I've actually been playing with them for years, like sitting in with them and doing blues jams and stuff. And their bassist, David Hull, who I became really good friends with, he played with Aerosmith. He played Monsters of Rock with them. He filled in for Tom Hamilton, and he played in the Joe Perry Project and all that. I asked him when we were gearing up to go do our EP. I said, "Do you have any recommendations for a good, rock and roll engineer, good studio that likes to, produce rock and roll?" And he said, definitely reach out to Benny Grotto of Mad Oak Studios. So I reached out, told him I was a friend of David, and he got right back. And when we went down to meet with him, the initial meeting, we clicked immediately, talking, references and how we wanted to go about it and all that. So it was I couldn't say enough great things about him.
Yeah,
he's fantastic.
Like, he really knows what he's doing. Like, there have been parts, like on Old Man Joe on the EP, he said, "Ooh, I want to try this." What was it, a full tone slapback thing or whatever it was? And we played him, like, oh my God, that's exactly. So like, he definitely had a lot of valuable input, like with like backing vocals. Yeah, I think we should try something like this, or and he it's just one of those things where, how like when you meet someone in like a working relationship, you instantly know, like she had said, this guy gets it. This guy, he wasn't just like a fly on the wall. Okay, he was involved. He knows what he's doing. He's smart, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's a great producer when you can he adds something to the band, kind of that sixth member kind of thing. So great to have him, and it's a great sounding record for sure. I know you guys were working on a video a couple weeks ago, over the weekend. Can you tell me anything about that?
Well, leading up to that, we kind of had a bunch of extenuating circumstances, and we had a lot to juggle. Everyone had, their own things going on. So it was kind of one of those things where we had to find time for everyone to do it. And while we were there, we started shooting, and we're still kind of working it out. It was a lot of fun. I had never done a music video before, so it was kind of interesting to see. We had a videographer, his guy Vic, and he came down and he shot a lot of cool stuff. So we're actually still. It's been very busy. It's been very go. So because we're actually editing it ourselves, and so we're still finding time to kind of go through it. And we were recording video for Take Me Home and a live thing for Tomorrow off the EP.
Cool. That's great to hear. It's great to hear. You're editing yourself. Boy, oh boy.
Right. Not easy.
That is not easy. I know it's not easy. No. That's very time consuming. I don't know where you guys find the time. It's crazy. Now you guys are in Southern Maine. Are you comfortable in Southern Maine? Before it used to be, we got to go to LA or we got to go to Nashville. This is where everything's happening. Now, not so much. Any plans like that? You're close to the Boston area. You staying where you're at and doing what you do? Well,
for right now, that's the plan, because we have quite a few connections here and a good solid base of people that are, working with us and working on getting us to that next level. Boston is about an hour 20 away. So we try to be down in Boston as much as we can, because I love Boston. I also love Nashville, so I wouldn't mind moving there in the future. I know, didn't Greta Van Fleet just move down there?
I think they might have. Yeah. So everybody is, it seems. Yep.
I know. Yeah, it is getting too crowded.
Yeah.
But for right now, we're staying in Southern Maine, but especially this summer, we're working on branching out of playing in this area. We've got shows booked in New Hampshire and working on Boston and just getting out of here. Hopefully booking like a Nashville and back tour, stuff like that. So
I mean, Chicago in between there kind of would be cool.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, as far as like, staying in Maine, it just seemed, especially even like before all the COVID and everything like that, it's definitely one of those things. I've always felt like you don't move, because I thought about moving to LA, and I thought it before I came to Maine or like New York. But the thing is, it's almost easier to kind of stay put and stay where you're at, because it's easier when you have YouTube and you have like online and viral videos. It's right. Like, staying in Maine right now, it's definitely the plan, because moving to New York, it's almost like you may be a big fish in a little pond here, but you're a little fish in a huge pond there, especially if you don't have a big like a tremendous following, say like Greta Van Fleet, so it's definitely, I'm not originally from Maine, so it's definitely culture shock a little bit for the small towns. But
yeah. Where are you originally from, Jordan?
Austin, Texas.
Okay. I was just in Houston, so yeah. That is not small.
No, Houston's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, we spent the weekend in Galveston Island, so that was really nice. It was
that's cool. I've actually never been.
My first time there, so
yeah. Cool.
What's the dream gig for you guys?
Dream gig?
Yeah.
I'm ready to sell out TD Garden.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. Boston.
I mean, the sky's the limit.
I've been going to, the Garden for my whole life, just living in New England and stuff, and seeing shows there and dreaming of playing there someday. And that's the goal. And I mean, also next step type of thing is, have you heard of the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom?
No.
In New Hampshire? Oh, well, that venue is incredible. And I actually played there. I got up and played with Buddy Guy a couple of years ago.
No, man. Wow. A Chicago guy. Yeah.
But that venue, like Zeppelin played there, Janis Joplin played there. Yeah, George Carlin did a show there. And it's got so much history and old wood floors. And it's about a 2,000 capacity, I think. So it's a great little venue, and that's what we're striving for right now in the immediate future.
But you can never, not mention MetLife Stadium. That's how
Of course, right? Now, do you have tour plans? It's difficult. Things are starting to open up a little bit. Is there any small tour plans, local plans, or Boston area,
Well, not at the moment. We're having to do a bit of a shuffle as far as like personnel goes, within the band. So taking that into account, and plus like COVID and stuff, we are talking to some people, about playing some pretty cool shows. We don't know, nothing's final until it's done, So, but as far as like large scale touring, it's something that we're talking about, but no plans as of right now.
The big thing for us so far is the 2 shows. So August 3rd and 8th, we're playing Hampton Beach in their big outside stage, which is going to be fantastic. Yeah. We played on their smaller stage last year because of COVID, and this year they're opening it all up. So we're super excited to get out there.
That's way cool. That's way cool. Now, how are you going to release new music? Do you plan on another EP, or are you going to have a full album or singles? Any plans for the release of new music?
Right now we have plans for a couple new singles. We're going to go in mid-July. Going to work with Benny Grotto still, and we're just going to attack it right now with just a couple singles. Try to follow up, keep the steam going. Once it's going, train can't stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, we're also in the background working on tons of songs for an album, because
never stop writing.
Yeah, we never stop.
Yeah. That's great. In between editing.
Yeah. Well, we're already, they'll, especially him and Sam, they'll get together and talk, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, that song would be good for like our 3rd album."
Yeah.
Plan.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. Man, that's great. Thanks, you guys. It's this is great. Let's keep in touch. Do this again. When you guys get more material and you get out there and you play some shows, you just let me know, and you're always welcome here for sure.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to our stuff. And
absolutely, and thanks so much for contacting me and reaching out. It's I'm honored to do it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Be
All right.
well.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.